Disturbing True Scary Story, Part 1, The Whistler. Hi there. Thanks for tuning in. What I'm about to share with you has stayed with me for years. It's something I've never fully understood, and even now, just thinking about it gives me chills. This didn't happen out in the wilderness or some abandoned house in the middle of nowhere. It happened in a small town I grew up in, a quiet place, the kind of place where you know your neighbors, and kids ride their bikes until sunset. I was 17 at the time. It was the summer before my senior year, and I had just started a part-time job at a local gas station. It wasn't anything glamorous, but it paid well, and the hours were decent. I usually worked the evening shift, 4 to 11, which meant I'd often walk home at night. The walk wasn't far. Maybe 10 minutes tops. Just one long stretch of road with houses on either side, then a short cut through a small wooded trail behind my neighborhood. It was the kind of path most people avoided after dark, but I'd taken it 100 times. I never thought twice about it. Until one night. That night started like any other. It was a Friday, and the station was slow, barely any customers past 9. My coworker, Jay, had already gone home, and I was just waiting for my shift to end. Around 10:50, I locked up the front, did a quick count of the register, grabbed my bag, and stepped out. It was quiet. Still. That kind of heavy silence that only happens in small towns after everyone's gone to bed. I started walking, phone in hand, texting my friend Liv that I'd call her when I got home. The first half of the walk was uneventful, just me and the sound of my own footsteps. But the moment I reached the entrance to the trail, something felt off. The trees looked darker than usual, almost like the night had thickened around them. I paused, staring into the woods. There was this strange stillness, like even the crickets had stopped chirping. I shook it off. Told myself I was just tired. I stepped into the trail. And that's when I heard it. A whistle. 3 short notes. Soft. Slow. Almost playful. I stopped walking immediately. It had come from somewhere ahead of me, deep in the trees, but not far. I stood there, trying to make sense of it. It wasn't a bird. It was too deliberate. Too human. I waited. Nothing. After a moment, I started walking again, a little faster this time. I was maybe halfway through the trail when I heard it again. 3 short notes. Exactly the same. But this time, it was behind me. I froze. My mouth went dry. I slowly turned around. No one. Just trees. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I pulled out my phone, turned on the flashlight, and scanned the woods. Nothing. I didn't run. I should've. But I didn't. Instead, I walked faster, practically speed-walking the rest of the trail until I reached the street on the other side. The moment I stepped out from the trees and onto the pavement, I felt like I could breathe again. I turned around one last time. And just for a second, I thought I saw something. A figure. Barely visible. Standing just inside the woods. I blinked, and it was gone. I got home, locked every door and window, and didn't sleep that night. But it didn't end there. The next night, I was off work. Around 9:30, Liv texted me, asking if I wanted to hang out. She lived just 2 blocks over, so I said sure, and walked over. I told her about the whistle. She laughed. Said it was probably just some creep messing around. I didn't laugh. It didn't feel like that. We watched a movie, ordered pizza, and around midnight, I told her I should head home. She offered to walk me back, but I said no. Didn't want to look scared. Big mistake. I took the long way this time, skipping the trail. It added about 10 minutes, but I didn't care. The whole walk, I kept glancing over my shoulder. Every sound made me jump. And then, just as I reached my front yard, that same whistle. 3 short notes. But this time, it was closer. Too close. Like someone was standing right behind me. I spun around, phone light out. Nothing. I didn't even bother checking again. I ran inside, slammed the door, and locked it. Then I stood there, back against the door, shaking. It wasn't just a whistle anymore. It was a pattern. Someone was following me. And they knew where I lived. Disturbing True Scary Story, Part 2, The Whistler Returns. The next morning, I tried to rationalize everything. Maybe it was someone playing a prank. Maybe I was overreacting. But no matter how much I tried to explain it away, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone had followed me home. And that whistle. It was stuck in my head like a song you can't forget. I told my mom about it over breakfast. She was half listening while scrolling through emails. She nodded and said, "You should probably just avoid the trail from now on." That was it. No real concern. No questions. So I dropped it. I didn't want to seem paranoid. The weekend passed without anything strange happening. But by Monday, I was back at work. Evening shift again. 4 to 11. Jay wasn't in that day, so I was on my own. The store was slow. Boring, even. And for a while, I almost forgot about the whistle. Almost. At around 10:45, just as I was mopping the back corner of the store, the motion-activated bell at the front door chimed. Ding. I glanced over. And saw no one. The door was wide open. But no one had come in. I walked toward the door slowly, confused. Maybe it didn't shut all the way and the wind blew it open. I stepped outside. Looked left. Then right. Empty parking lot. Silence. But then, from somewhere across the road, just beyond the gas station's light, 3 short whistles. I turned toward the sound. And I saw someone. A figure. Standing just outside the glow of the streetlight. Still. Watching. I could feel my heart trying to crawl up my throat. I stepped back inside. Locked the door. And turned off the main lights. I crouched behind the counter, peeking up just enough to see the windows. The figure hadn't moved. He was just standing there. Still. Patient. Watching me. I stayed behind the counter for what felt like forever. At some point, I checked my phone. 11:09. Shift over. But I wasn't going outside. No way. Instead, I texted Jay. Then Liv. Neither answered. Eventually, I called my mom. Told her everything. She must have heard something in my voice because for the first time, she took it seriously. "I'm coming to get you," she said. I stayed hidden until her car pulled up. Only when I saw her step out with a flashlight did I unlock the front door and bolt to her side. We looked across the road together. No one. The figure was gone. But I swear. She saw the look on my face. She didn't ask any questions. Just said, "Let's go." That night, I double-checked every lock in the house. Even shoved a chair under my bedroom doorknob. Still didn't sleep. A few days passed. No whistles. No shadows. I started to feel, maybe I was safe again. But then came Thursday night. It was around 1 a.m. I was still awake, watching YouTube on my phone, lights off, blanket over my head like a kid. I paused the video to check a text. And that's when I heard it. Outside my window. Soft. Subtle. 3 short whistles. I froze. My room is on the 2nd floor. There's no balcony. No ledge. No tree close enough to climb. Just my window, and the empty space outside it. And yet the whistle had come from right outside. I turned off my phone. Held my breath. Listened. Nothing. Then, a knock. Soft. Deliberate. Tap. 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 I wanted to scream. Instead, I slid off the bed, crawled toward the door, and cracked it open. The hallway was dark. I ran to my mom's room and shook her awake. She groggily followed me back, clearly annoyed, until I pointed to the window. Someone was knocking, I whispered. And whistling. We flipped the light on. Nothing outside. No shadow. No sign. But on the glass, there was a smudge. A fingerprint. Long, thin. Pressed flat against the window, like someone had been leaning close, watching. We called the police that night. 2 officers came by, looked around the yard, checked the windows. Didn't find anyone. Didn't seem too concerned either. Probably some punk kid playing pranks, one of them said. Seen it a dozen times. But I knew it wasn't a prank. This wasn't random. It was targeted. It was me. The next few days, I stopped walking anywhere. My mom drove me to work and back. She even installed a motion light out front and a cheap security camera aimed at the yard. For a while, it worked. There were no more whistles. No more knocks. But just when I thought it was over, everything escalated. Way beyond what I was prepared for. Because the next time, he didn't come to my window. He came into the house. Disturbing True Scary Story, Part 3, he came inside. I still don't know how he got in. That night felt normal at first. Mom had gone to bed early, around 10 p.m. She had worked the next morning, and she was exhausted. I was in my room again. Lights off, headphones on, scrolling through random videos. Trying to ignore the unease that had become my new normal. Around 1 a.m., I heard something. Not outside. Inside. It was faint, like a soft click, or a latch. I paused the video. Pulled off my headphones. Held my breath. Silence. Then. Creak. The unmistakable sound of a floorboard, downstairs. I sat up. My heart pounding like a hammer in my chest. I told myself it was just the house settling. Old wood. Heating vents. Anything. But then I heard it again. Creak. Creak. Slow. Steady. Someone was walking through the living room. I grabbed my phone, turned off the screen so the light wouldn't show, and texted my mom. Are you up? No response. I tiptoed to my bedroom door and cracked it open. Pitch black hallway. Then I heard it again. This time, the stairs. Each step groaned under weight, slow and deliberate, like whoever was coming up didn't care if they were heard. Or worse, they wanted to be. I locked my door. Then backed away. And that's when it came. The whistle. 3 short notes. Right outside my door. I wanted to scream. But nothing came out. The shadow under the door shifted. Whoever it was, they were standing right there. Then. Tap. 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 Knocking. Light. Gentle. Too gentle. Like they were mocking me. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Then my phone buzzed. A reply from my mom. Sleeping. Why? I stared at the message. She wasn't up. Then who was in the hallway? The knocking stopped. Silence again. I didn't hear footsteps this time. Whoever it was had stopped moving. Or worse, they were still standing there. I don't know how long I waited. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe an hour. Eventually, I sent another text. Mom. Please. Wake up. Someone is inside. This time, I saw the typing bubble right away. What? Stay in your room. I'm calling 911. A wave of cold relief washed over me. But I didn't dare move. Less than 5 minutes later, I heard it. Sirens. Then pounding at the front door. Then my mom's voice shouting my name from her room. I bolted out, into the hallway, and ran straight into her arms. She was shaking. So was I. The police searched the entire house. Top to bottom. They found nothing. No broken windows. No forced locks. No signs of entry. It made no sense. The front door was locked. The back door too. All windows closed and latched. They checked the security camera. But the footage had been cut off. Literally. The video just stopped at 12:58 a.m. Then black. No file corruption. No explanation. Just like someone had known how to disable it. They told us it was probably a malfunction. Recommended better locks. More lights. And that was that. The next day, I didn't go to school. Didn't go to work. Barely spoke. I just kept thinking about how close he had been. Right outside my door. In my house. And somehow, he'd gotten out. Without a trace. I wanted to believe that was the end of it. That maybe we scared him off. But part of me knew better. Because the next time, he didn't wait until night. It happened 4 days later. It was late afternoon, just past 6 p.m. I was home alone. Mom had gone to the store. The sun was still up. There were birds outside. I felt safe. I was in the kitchen, making ramen, when I heard the doorbell. Ding dong. I checked through the peephole. No one. Weird. I stepped outside, looked around. Nothing. Street was empty. I turned to go back inside. And that's when I saw it. Right there, on the welcome mat. A small piece of paper. I picked it up. There were only 4 words written in black marker. I like watching you. I dropped it. Spun around, heart racing. Nothing. No cars. No movement. But somehow, I knew. He was watching. Somewhere. Somehow. And he wasn't done. Disturbing True Scary Story, Part 4, Never Really Gone. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every creak of the walls, every rustle of the wind outside the window made me sit up, alert, my skin prickling with fear. I kept the note. I don't know why, maybe part of me wanted proof. Proof that it wasn't all in my head. That someone really was out there. I like watching you. 4 words that changed everything. The next day, my mom finally had enough. She filed another police report, this time not just for trespassing, but for stalking. We printed out the note, gave them a copy. The officers listened. Took it more seriously this time. One of them, a younger guy, Officer Moreno, even sat down and asked me if I could describe anything. I never saw his face, I told him. Just his outline. Tall. Slim. Always in a hoodie. And the whistling. At that, the officer paused. The whistling? I nodded. 3 short notes. Same every time. Moreno exchanged a look with the other cop. Like they'd heard that before. But when I asked, they just said, "We'll keep an eye on the neighborhood." A few more days passed. No sounds. No knocks. No notes. I should have felt safe. But instead, I felt something worse. The calm before something worse. I went back to work, finally. Tried to pretend like everything was normal. Jay was back on shift with me. He noticed something was off. "You look like you haven't slept in days," he said. I just gave him a weak smile. "Yeah. Something like that." It was slow that night. Jay went to the back to restock drinks, and I stayed behind the counter scrolling on my phone. It was just past 9:30 when the motion chime at the door dinged. I looked up. There was a man. He wore a dark hoodie. Head down. Hands in his pockets. He didn't say anything. Just walked slowly, aimlessly, down one of the snack aisles. I watched the monitors behind the counter. Every second, my heart pounded harder. Then he stopped. Right under the security camera in the back corner. And looked up. Straight into the lens. That's when the screen glitched. Just for a second. A flicker. But I saw it. Then. 3 soft whistles. From inside the store. My blood turned to ice. He knew. He knew I was watching. He knew who I was. I hit the panic button under the counter. The silent alarm would bring the cops without alerting the guy. Jay came out from the back a second later. "What's wrong?" he asked. I pointed, but the man was gone. Just like that. Gone. We both rushed outside, but he'd vanished. When the police arrived, I told them everything. Moreno was there again. He looked through the footage. Saw the man. The glitch. But when they tried to pull the video file, corrupted. Like before. Like someone knew how to scramble it. And then Officer Moreno said something I'll never forget. He pulled me aside and said quietly, "You said he whistles. 3 notes." I nodded. "We had a guy a few years ago," he said. "Used to stalk women in this area. Same pattern. Would follow them, sometimes leave notes. Always whistled the same tune. But he disappeared before we could catch him." I swallowed hard. "You think it's him?" "I don't know," he said. "But if it is, he's back. And he's watching again." That night, my mom and I checked into a hotel. She didn't want us sleeping at the house anymore. We stayed there for a week. Then another. No more notes. No whistles. Eventually, we moved. Out of the area completely. Left that house. That job. That life. For a long time, things were quiet. I tried to forget. Tried to convince myself it was over. But then, a few months ago, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. No postage stamp. Just sitting in our new mailbox. Inside was a single piece of paper. 4 words. Written in the same handwriting as before. "I still see you. Now I never walk anywhere alone. I don't stay up late. Don't sit near windows. Don't let the house go quiet. Because I don't think he's ever really gone. He doesn't need to break in. He doesn't need to make noise. He just needs to watch. And whistle. And wait."